It sounds like the monarchy will be shifting in a slightly different direction.
I think it's safe to say that change is on my agenda. Change for good.
The room was filled with familiar faces, royal tradition, and carefully rehearsed protocol. Yet within moments, something happened that nobody inside Buckingham Palace appeared prepared for. As Prince William stepped forward in what many described as his first unmistakable appearance as king, the atmosphere shifted dramatically. But was this simply ceremony, or the beginning of a royal reset nobody saw coming? For years, royal observers have speculated about how Prince William, the future king, would eventually shape the monarchy once greater responsibility passed into his hands. There had been countless reports, endless commentary, and no shortage of predictions from royal experts across the United Kingdom and beyond. Yet despite all that discussion, very few people expected the transition to feel so immediate, so visible, and so unmistakable. What unfolded during this appearance was not dramatic in the traditional sense. There were no public confrontations, no official announcements, no shocking declarations delivered from a palace balcony. Instead, the impact came from something far more powerful inside royal institutions. It came from perception. As Prince William entered the room, witnesses described an atmosphere that changed almost instantly. The future king did not pause to acknowledge every camera. Prince William did not appear interested in creating headlines or generating applause. Instead, Prince William moved with the confidence of someone who already understood exactly where authority now rested. And that detail immediately caught attention. Because for decades, Buckingham Palace has operated through carefully balanced relationships, private influence, and established hierarchies that often remain invisible to the public. Those structures rarely change overnight. Yet on this occasion, many observers believe they were watching one of those rare moments when the balance quietly shifts. The question is this: did everyone present recognize that shift at the same time? Or were some people realizing far too late that the monarchy was already entering a new chapter? That question became even more intriguing when attention turned toward Queen Camilla's wider family circle. For years, the Parker Bowles family occupied a unique position around the royal family. Through Queen Camilla's marriage to King Charles III, long-standing connections naturally developed. Invitations were extended. Familiarity grew. Relationships strengthened over time. Nobody viewed those connections as unusual. After all, every royal era creates its own network of trusted figures. However, royal history repeatedly shows that influence attached to one monarch does not automatically transfer to the next. And this is where the story becomes much more complicated. According to several royal commentators, Prince William has spent years preparing for a future role that increasingly demanded independence from previous arrangements. While King Charles III has often been described as patient, consensus-driven, and deeply attached to long-standing personal relationships, Prince William has frequently been portrayed as more strategic, more focused, and considerably more willing to make difficult decisions when institutional interests are involved. That difference may seem subtle. Inside palace walls, however, subtle differences often become the foundation of major change. Observers noticed that Prince William's approach appeared remarkably disciplined. Every movement seemed intentional. Every interaction appeared carefully managed. Even routine moments carried an unusual sense of control. Naturally, this led many royal watchers to ask another important question. Was Prince William merely fulfilling ceremonial duties? Or was Prince William sending a message about what the future monarchy would actually look like? Because if there was a message, it did not require words. The symbolism spoke loudly enough. Many analysts believe the modern royal family faces challenges unlike anything experienced by previous generations. Public expectations have changed dramatically. Social media amplifies every decision. Questions about relevance, transparency, and accountability now follow almost every royal engagement. Prince William understands this reality better than most. Unlike previous heirs, Prince William has spent years observing both the strengths and weaknesses of modern royal leadership while simultaneously preparing Prince George, the next generation of the monarchy, for an increasingly complicated future. That responsibility carries enormous weight, and perhaps that explains why this appearance felt different. Not because Prince William suddenly became a different person, but because the public may have finally seen the version of Prince William that palace insiders have reportedly been seeing for years. A leader already thinking beyond the present moment. A leader already focused on the future. A leader increasingly comfortable exercising authority rather than simply preparing for it. Yet there remained one unresolved issue hanging over the entire event. If Prince William truly intends to reshape the monarchy, what happens to the networks, traditions, and relationships built during the reign of King Charles III? More specifically, what happens to those whose influence depended on the previous structure remaining exactly as it was? That question lingered long after the appearance ended. Inside Buckingham Palace, conversations reportedly continued behind closed doors. Across the media, commentators began examining every detail. Royal supporters debated whether they had witnessed a symbolic transition or something much larger. And perhaps the most fascinating part of all is that nobody seemed completely certain where this new direction would ultimately lead. What kind of king will Prince William become? How much influence will Catherine, Princess of Wales, hold beside him? And why did so many people leave this appearance believing they had just witnessed the first unmistakable signs of a monarchy preparing to reinvent itself? Those questions would only grow larger in the days that followed. But what happened next would place Queen Camilla's family directly at the center of an increasingly uncomfortable royal reality, one that few palace insiders were willing to discuss openly.
If Prince William's appearance marked the beginning of a new royal era, the next question quickly became unavoidable. Who stood to gain influence from this transition, and who risked losing it? Inside Buckingham Palace, power is rarely measured by official titles alone. Influence often comes through proximity, access, trust, and long-established relationships that develop over years, sometimes decades. Few people understood that reality better than Queen Camilla's family. For much of King Charles III's reign, Queen Camilla's relatives occupied a comfortable position within the broader royal orbit. While never official working royals, members of the Parker-Bowles family benefited from something equally valuable: familiarity with the monarch himself. That distinction matters, because royal history repeatedly demonstrates that personal relationships can open doors that formal positions cannot. For years, Queen Camilla's children, Tom Parker-Bowles and Laura Lopez, were occasionally present at significant family occasions and private royal gatherings. Their appearances rarely generated controversy because the arrangement seemed natural. King Charles III valued family connections, and many observers viewed those relationships as part of the monarchy's evolving modern identity. Yet the stability of those arrangements depended on one critical assumption: that the future would look largely like the present. As Prince William's influence expanded, that assumption suddenly appeared far less certain. And this is where palace insiders began noticing something interesting. Several royal commentators have long argued that Prince William approaches leadership differently from King Charles III. Where King Charles III often emphasized continuity and personal loyalty, Prince William appears increasingly focused on structure, efficiency, and institutional purpose. At first glance, that difference may sound administrative. In reality, it has enormous implications. Because when leadership priorities change, entire networks of influence can change alongside them. The question many observers began asking was simple: would Prince William preserve existing relationships simply because they had existed under King Charles III? Or would Prince William evaluate every connection according to a different standard? That uncertainty alone was enough to generate significant discussion within royal circles. After all, the future king has repeatedly demonstrated a willingness to make decisions based on long-term institutional goals rather than short-term comfort. Prince William's reported approach toward controversial royal issues, including discussions surrounding Prince Andrew and broader questions about the size of the royal family, has often reflected a preference for clarity over sentiment. For supporters, that approach signals strength. For others, it signals unpredictability. And nowhere was that uncertainty felt more strongly than among those whose influence depended upon older royal arrangements remaining intact. As palace conversations intensified, another factor entered the equation: Catherine, Princess of Wales. For years, royal experts have noted the growing influence of Catherine, Princess of Wales, within the future royal structure. Unlike previous generations, Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, are frequently described as operating as a highly coordinated partnership rather than separate royal figures pursuing independent agendas. That partnership matters because it introduces a new center of influence within Buckingham Palace. A center increasingly focused on Prince George, Princess Charlotte, Prince Louis, and the long-term future of the monarchy itself. Observers believe that perspective naturally encourages a more concentrated royal model, one that prioritizes a smaller inner circle and a clearer public purpose. If that assessment is correct, the implications extend far beyond ceremonial appearances. It could reshape who holds influence, who receives access, and who remains central to the monarchy's future story. And this is where viewers should consider an important question. Was the reaction surrounding Queen Camilla's family really about one appearance? Or was it about the realization that a much larger transformation had already begun behind palace walls? Because the signs had been building for months. Reports surrounding Prince William's expanding responsibilities, King Charles III's health challenges, and Catherine, Princess of Wales' gradual return to public duties all pointed toward a monarchy preparing for its next chapter. Perhaps what shocked observers was not the change itself. Perhaps what surprised them was how visible that change suddenly became. The moment Prince William stepped forward, many people stopped discussing the future in theoretical terms. The future appeared to be standing directly in front of them. And if that realization created uncertainty for some members of Queen Camilla's wider circle, an even bigger challenge was quietly emerging elsewhere inside the royal family. Because behind the scenes, another relationship was becoming increasingly important to the future direction of the crown. A relationship that could ultimately determine how power, influence, and public trust are distributed throughout the next royal era. And that relationship centered on Catherine, Princess of Wales, whose growing authority was beginning to attract attention far beyond palace corridors. As attention focused on Prince William's increasingly confident role within the monarchy, another transformation was unfolding at the same time, one that many royal observers believe could prove just as significant as William's own rise. The story was no longer only about a future king. The story was increasingly about the woman expected to stand beside that future king. For years, Catherine, Princess of Wales, built a reputation through patience, discipline, and consistency. Unlike many figures who entered the royal family under intense public scrutiny, Catherine, Princess of Wales, rarely appeared eager to command attention. Instead, Catherine, Princess of Wales, gradually earned public trust through years of steady appearances, charitable work, and an approach that emphasized duty over spectacle. That strategy has paid enormous dividends. Today, Catherine, Princess of Wales, remains one of the most respected members of the royal family, both within the United Kingdom and internationally. Poll after poll has shown remarkable public confidence in Catherine, Princess of Wales, creating a level of goodwill that few public figures ever achieve. And that growing popularity has not gone unnoticed inside Buckingham Palace. According to royal commentators, the monarchy's future increasingly revolves around the partnership between Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales. Unlike previous royal eras where influence was often concentrated in a single figure, palace observers describe a leadership model that appears more collaborative and strategically aligned. That distinction is important, because while Prince William may represent the authority of the crown, Catherine, Princess of Wales, increasingly represents something equally valuable: public trust. Many royal analysts believe the future success of the monarchy will depend not only on constitutional responsibilities, but also on maintaining a meaningful connection with ordinary citizens. In an age of social media, constant scrutiny, and changing public expectations, that connection may be more important than ever before. And few people seem better positioned to provide it than Catherine, Princess of Wales. But this is where the story becomes particularly interesting. As Catherine, Princess of Wales, gained influence, some royal watchers began noticing subtle shifts in palace dynamics. The changes were not dramatic. They rarely appeared in official announcements. Yet within royal institutions, even small adjustments can reveal larger developments taking place behind the scenes. Observers noted that Catherine, Princess of Wales increasingly occupied a central role during major royal events. International visits, state occasions, diplomatic engagements, and public ceremonies often place Catherine, Princess of Wales, at the forefront of media coverage. That attention was not merely the result of popularity. Many believed it reflected preparation. Preparation for a future role that carries enormous responsibility. Preparation for queenship. And perhaps most importantly, preparation for helping guide the monarchy through one of the most significant transitions in modern royal history. The implications of that preparation extend far beyond public appearances, because every future monarchy eventually develops its own inner circle, its own trusted advisors, its own priorities, its own vision. The emerging partnership between Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, appears to be doing exactly that. Several royal experts have suggested that the future king and future queen favor a streamlined monarchy focused on impact rather than size. Instead of expanding royal involvement across numerous branches of the family, Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, reportedly prefer concentrating resources, attention, and responsibility around a smaller group of senior working royals. If accurate, that philosophy could reshape influence throughout Buckingham Palace for years to come. And, naturally, that raises another important question. What happens to individuals who once operated comfortably within older structures of influence? Because every shift toward a smaller monarchy inevitably creates winners and losers. Some figures move closer to the center. Others gradually move further away. That reality has fueled increasing speculation regarding the future role of Queen Camilla's wider family network, particularly as Prince William's authority continues to expand. Yet the situation may be even more complex than it first appears. Because this transition is not simply about personalities. It is about competing visions for what the monarchy should become. King Charles III spent decades promoting causes, traditions, and relationships that reflected his own understanding of royal service. Prince William appears determined to preserve certain aspects of that legacy, while simultaneously modernizing the institution for future generations. Balancing those goals will not be easy. Every decision carries consequences. Every adjustment creates reactions. Every effort to modernize risks criticism from those who favor tradition. And every effort to preserve tradition risks criticism from those demanding change. That delicate balancing act explains why palace insiders are watching Prince William's next moves so carefully. The future king faces a challenge unlike any experienced by previous generations. Prince William must convince the public that the monarchy remains relevant while also preserving the history that gives the institution its unique identity. Fortunately for Prince William, Catherine, Princess of Wales, may be one of the monarchy's greatest assets in achieving that balance. Together, Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, increasingly project stability, continuity, and confidence at a time when many institutions around the world face uncertainty. But as their influence grows, another challenge continues to loom over the royal family. Because not everyone agrees on how the monarchy should evolve. And one issue in particular would soon reveal just how different Prince William's leadership style might be from that of King Charles III. The controversy surrounding Prince Andrew. And what happened next would provide perhaps the clearest glimpse yet into the future king's philosophy of power, accountability, and royal responsibility. If royal observers were searching for clues about the kind of king Prince William might eventually become, many believe those clues did not emerge during a ceremonial appearance, a state banquet, or even an international tour. Instead, the clearest signal may have come from one of the most difficult and controversial chapters facing the modern royal family, the Prince Andrew crisis. For years, Buckingham Palace struggled to manage the consequences surrounding Prince Andrew's public standing. What began as a damaging controversy eventually evolved into a much larger institutional challenge, forcing senior royals to confront uncomfortable questions about accountability, reputation, and public trust. And according to numerous royal commentators, Prince William viewed the situation very differently from some members of the older generation. That difference would prove highly revealing, because while previous royal eras often emphasized family loyalty, gradual solutions, and careful compromise, Prince William reportedly approached the issue through a different lens entirely. the future king appeared focused on one overriding concern: protecting the institution itself. For Prince William, the question was not whether difficult decisions would create tension inside the family. The question was whether avoiding those decisions could create even greater damage to the monarchy's credibility. That distinction may seem subtle. In reality, it represents a fundamentally different philosophy of leadership. Many royal analysts believe Prince William belongs to a generation that understands how rapidly public opinion can shift. Unlike previous decades, modern controversies do not fade quietly. News cycles move faster. Public expectations are higher. Social media ensures that royal decisions are examined from every possible angle. As a result, Prince William appears increasingly committed to addressing challenges directly rather than allowing uncertainty to linger indefinitely. And nowhere was that approach more visible than during discussions surrounding Prince Andrew's future role. According to reports from royal commentators, Prince William favored a firm separation between the monarchy's future and controversies that risked undermining public confidence. While King Charles III has often been described as balancing institutional concerns with personal relationships, Prince William reportedly placed greater emphasis on long-term reputation. That approach attracted both praise and criticism. Supporters viewed Prince William's position as necessary leadership. Critics argued that such decisions risk creating a monarchy that feels colder and less forgiving. But, regardless of where opinions fall, one conclusion became increasingly difficult to ignore. Prince William was demonstrating a willingness to make difficult choices. And that realization attracted significant attention inside palace circles. Because difficult choices rarely remain isolated. Once a leader establishes a particular governing philosophy, observers naturally begin asking where that philosophy will be applied next. Would Prince William adopt a similarly firm approach toward other sensitive issues? Would Prince William favor a smaller royal family with fewer working members? Would Prince William continue reducing roles that no longer align with the institution's future objectives? Suddenly, these questions became far more than theoretical discussions. They became questions about the future structure of royal power itself. And this is where the conversation once again returned to Queen Camilla's wider circle. Not because Queen Camilla's family was involved in controversy. Far from it. Rather, observers began recognizing a broader pattern. If Prince William was willing to reassess long-standing arrangements involving senior members of the royal family, then no relationship could automatically assume permanent status simply because it existed under previous leadership. The principle appeared consistent. Everything would be evaluated according to purpose. Everything would be measured against the monarchy's future direction. Everything would be examined through the lens of public confidence and institutional effectiveness. For some palace veterans, that represented a dramatic cultural shift. The monarchy has always evolved gradually, but Prince William's emerging style suggested a greater willingness to accelerate change when necessary. Not reckless change, not revolutionary change, but deliberate and strategic change. The kind of change designed to strengthen the institution before external pressures force it to adapt. And perhaps that explains why Prince William's first appearance generated such intense discussion. The appearance itself was important. What it symbolized was even more important, because many people no longer saw Prince William as simply the future king. Many people began viewing Prince William as the architect of the monarchy's next chapter. A chapter likely defined by discipline, efficiency, accountability, and careful modernization. Yet even as Prince William's leadership style became clearer, another crucial factor remained impossible to ignore. No monarch succeeds alone. Every successful reign depends upon trusted partnerships, shared vision, and strong support behind the scenes. And in Prince William's case, one partnership stands above all others. The partnership with Catherine, Princess of Wales. Because according to those closest to the future of the monarchy, the most important decisions shaping the next royal era may not be made by one person alone. Instead, they may emerge from a carefully aligned partnership that has been preparing for this moment for years. And what royal insiders claim is happening behind palace doors could explain why so many believe the future monarchy already looks very different from the one the public sees today. That is where the story becomes even more fascinating. By the time discussion surrounding Prince William's first appearance began spreading across royal circles, many observers believed they were witnessing the rise of a future king who had finally stepped fully into his authority. But what if that interpretation only tells part of the story? What if the most important development inside Buckingham Palace is not Prince William's rise alone, but the partnership quietly forming at the very center of the monarchy's future? Because according to many royal commentators, Prince William's growing confidence cannot be separated from the influence of Catherine, Princess of Wales. For years, Catherine, Princess of Wales, has been viewed as one of the monarchy's greatest assets. Public approval remains remarkably strong. International audiences continue responding positively to Catherine, Princess of Wales. Even during periods when public attention shifted toward controversy elsewhere within the royal family, Catherine, Princess of Wales, consistently projected stability, discipline, and reliability. Those qualities matter, especially during periods of transition. Throughout royal history, successful monarchies have often depended upon strong partnerships capable of providing balance during moments of uncertainty. Queen Elizabeth II relied heavily upon Prince Philip. King George VI relied upon Queen Elizabeth, later known as the Queen Mother. Now, many observers believe Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, are building their own version of that model for a modern age. And the timing could not be more important. The monarchy faces challenges unlike those encountered by previous generations. Public expectations have changed dramatically. Younger audiences demand greater transparency. Long-standing traditions face increasing scrutiny. Global attention remains constant. Navigating those pressures requires more than ceremonial authority. It requires strategic vision. And many royal watchers believe Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, share exactly that. According to reports from palace insiders and royal commentators, the couple increasingly operates as a coordinated team, discussing major priorities together and approaching the future of the institution with a shared understanding of where the monarchy must go next. That does not mean abandoning tradition. Far from it. Instead, Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, appear focused on preserving the monarchy's most valuable strengths while modernizing the areas that no longer serve today's public expectations. This balance between continuity and change may ultimately define the next royal era. And perhaps nowhere is that clearer than in the couple's approach to family. Unlike previous generations, Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, have placed extraordinary emphasis on raising Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis within an environment that feels as grounded and stable as possible despite the extraordinary circumstances surrounding royal life. Many commentators view this as preparation not merely for childhood, but for succession itself. After all, Prince George represents the future beyond Prince William. Every decision made today shapes the monarchy that Prince George will eventually inherit. Could that explain why Prince William appears increasingly determined to streamline royal operations? Could that explain why Prince William seems focused on reducing unnecessary complications and concentrating authority within a smaller, more effective structure? Many believe the answer is yes. And if those assumptions are correct, then Prince William's first appearance carried significance far beyond a single event. The appearance may have offered the public a glimpse into a monarchy already evolving behind closed doors. A monarchy becoming more disciplined, more focused, more strategic, perhaps even more selective about who occupies positions of influence. Naturally, such changes create anxiety for those accustomed to older arrangements. That reality helps explain why discussions surrounding Queen Camilla's wider family generated so much attention following the event. Whether fair or unfair, many observers interpreted the moment as evidence that influence within Buckingham Palace was beginning to move in a different direction. Not through confrontation, not through public conflict, but through gradual realignment. And history shows that realignment often proves more powerful than open disagreement. Because once priorities change, institutions eventually change with them. That possibility leaves us with one final question. Was Prince William's appearance truly the beginning of a new era? Or was it simply the first moment the public became aware that the new era had already begun? For months, perhaps even years, signs of transition have appeared across the royal family. Expanding responsibilities, changing priorities, evolving public roles. A growing partnership between Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales. Increasing focus on the next generation represented by Prince George. Viewed separately, each development seemed manageable. Viewed together, they paint a much larger picture. A picture of a monarchy preparing itself for the future. And if that future ultimately belongs to Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, then many of the changes now attracting attention may only be the beginning of a much broader transformation still to come. OUTRO. So, as the world continues discussing Prince William's first appearance and the reaction it generated throughout royal circles, perhaps the most important takeaway is not what was said, but what was quietly understood. Power within the monarchy rarely shifts through dramatic announcements. More often, power shifts through perception, through confidence, through preparation, through the gradual realization that responsibility has already moved from one generation to the next. Some royal watchers believe Prince William's appearance revealed a future king ready to reshape the institution with discipline and clarity. Others argue that observers may be reading too much into a single moment, transforming ordinary royal protocol into something far larger than intended. Both interpretations remain possible. What cannot be denied is that conversations surrounding Prince William, Catherine, Princess of Wales, Queen Camilla, King Charles III, and the future direction of the royal family are becoming increasingly significant as the monarchy moves toward its next chapter. And perhaps that is the real story. Not one appearance, not one family, not one royal moment, but an institution standing at the edge of generational change. Now we'd love to hear from you. Do you believe Prince William's first appearance as king sent a deliberate message about the future of the monarchy? Or do you think royal watchers are seeing signs of change that were never actually intended? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the royal family, Prince William, Catherine, Princess of Wales, King Charles III, and the future of Buckingham Palace, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for our next royal discussion. Because the next chapter of this story may already be unfolding behind palace doors.